Welcome back everybody to the channel. Today we're taking a look at the 2024 Mazda 3 Sedan with the GT trim. So this is basically the fully loaded Mazda 3. This is as good as it gets, as high as it comes, and I think it's awesome. So let's check it out. So up first, we start with our daytime running LEDs. You'll forgive the engine noise because it is freezing out here and I need to go in sometimes to get some warmth. So daytime running LEDs look very nice. I like the chrome around there, but I mean, my tuners, you could literally black that out and it would look just as fantastic. I really like this white paint color too. We have some front-facing cameras up front, as well as a whole bunch of parking sensors because we have like I said, the max trim. So we have everything we need here, and I think it looks really sporty. I really enjoy the look of this thing. I don't think it's changed that much over the years. Looking at it, from other cars in traffic, it looks pretty similar, but honestly, it's not broken. Why fix it? I like it. Very aggressive, very nice, very sporty looking. This is really cool. So now let's talk about the engine. We have a 2.5 liter inline-4 Sky Active G Turbo Mazda engine that's going to give us 250 horsepower, 320 pound-feet of torque, and that is if you put 93 octane fuel. If you only put regular gas, so 87 octane, you're only going to get 227 horsepower, 310 torque. So it's interesting that they've done that. I haven't really been able to test it too much because this probably came with the 87 octane, but you know what? I think it's worth noting that if you want peak power, you got to put in peak price for gas. We also get the iActive all-wheel drive system as an option. You can option this just with the front-wheel drive. You don't need to go all-wheel drive, but the fact that it's winter and we have it, I like that too. We also get a 6-speed automatic transmission, so that is fantastic as well. So next, let's come around to the side here. Let's check it out. Mazda 3. You can see how kind of like the ride height is. You can see like it looks low, but it's actually really easy to get in and out of. And I've actually kind of turned the wheels because in person, like this black rims with this white paint color looks really nice, but it doesn't do it justice in camera. So I'll kind of get close up on the rims here. I got some winter tires on so I can drive in this ice very well, but it looks really nice. We also have some black side mirrors here for the LEDs, and also a camera because we do have that 360 degree, a parking sensor here for the touch unlock, which is very nice. So far it's worked. There's also some chrome on the sides. Again, you could black that out if you really wanted to customize this thing, which I think would look cool, but I don't hate it in its current configuration. Personally, from the side profile and just in general, I prefer the sedan over the hatchback version of this car. I just think it looks better. It looks a little bit bigger, it looks a little bit more sporty, but that is all preference. You are completely fine if you like the hatchback. There's nothing wrong with that. So last but not least, we come around to the back of the Mazda 3 where we can get up close with these nice circular tail lights here. Very iconic. We're used to seeing them. We always see them on the Mazdas lately. We also have the Mazda 3 all-wheel drive badge, and we have the Sky Active G Turbo badge as well as like this little like metallic lip on the bottom. Then we have a bunch of parking sensors. You can see them all right there, as well as the backup camera, which is nice. And we have these nice and wide exhaust tips. Very nice. I like them. There's not a lot of noise that come out of them, but I like that they are there and they look cool and they're visible, and Mazda didn't hide them. And last but certainly not least, we have the trunk space. Let's pop the button. There's a little button right underneath the Mazda emblem right there. Open that up. We have these two little things here where you could fold the seats down with if you need to. We got a Mazda 3 logoed mat here as well. Plenty of trunk space. I actually think like lengthwise, you probably have a little bit more room than the sedan, maybe, than the hatchback, but maybe, height-wise, the hatchback is a little bit better. But still, I feel like you got enough in here, especially for like the small compact sedan kind of vibe that Mazda is going for here. I think you got plenty of trunk space and I like it. So far this week, it's been no problem for me. So there you go. That is the exterior. Now let's hop into the interior, see what that has to offer. We're gonna take you in the back, then the front, and then of course I'm gonna take you on that POV drive, so stay tuned. Let's get to the interior. So as usual, up first is the rear for the Mazda 3. And of course, as you can see right away, these red leather seats stand out. It's like a very dark red, which I like. Looks very luxurious and very nice. So we're gonna try to get in here as gracefully as we possibly can. It is a little bit of a tight squeeze. Put my feet in here. All right, I'm in. So it's actually not that bad to get in or out. I've actually had sedans that are worse, but as you can see, I'm right up against this seat. If the driver moved up a little bit more, I'd probably have a little bit more room. But since I like to drive like that, I'm not going to do that. And like you can see here that my knees are kind of like pushing into like the thing, so I do have a little bit of space. I also have room for my feet underneath the seat, just enough. It's not a place necessarily where I would spend a lot of time per se, because of like there's just not a lot of room. But this is a compact sedan, right? So if you have like small children, I feel like they fit no problem. It's just the bigger people maybe wouldn't be so comfortable. Also, we've got no vents, no USB-C or anything back here, which is a little bit disappointing, especially for the price point that they're going for. But headroom is pretty good. I am not really hitting my head on the roof. Got a nice view of the sunroof there. And yeah, I just really like these seats back here. Very nice touch. It's not a boring back seat either. We have this little guy here that's going to come down, red as well, cup holders. Very nice. Not a lot going on back here, of course, because it is just the back seat. But let's hop up into the business end. Let's check out the front. All right, so now we're in the business end, the front end for the Mazda 3. Again, we have these really nice dark red leather seats, which I love, as well as I'll just take a seat here. We have some Bose speakers. We don't have any memory seating on the door, but it is right over here where you can see we have the 360-degree view button, parking sensors, traction control, 2 memory seat settings. That's impressive. We like that. So now let's actually hop in. Very easy to get into despite being a pretty low ride, but that's very nice. I like the steering wheel, like the leather wrapping on the steering wheel as well. We also have some basic cruise control settings, and of course the media controls are right there as well. Nice classic Mazda logo. Not much has changed about the steering wheel, but again, not broken, don't need to fix it. I like the design here. Then we can move over to our digital and analog gauge cluster, which I like. Usually I'd call this dated. Usually I'd say, you know what, it doesn't make sense to do that. But in this case, I feel like Mazda have just got it right. Just enough analog to not hate it, just enough digital to really like it. So it's pretty cool. So I can kind of switch through views here. See, I can have like a classic view, and then I could have something else in the classic view, but usually I just keep this with the lane keeping thing active, and then you can kind of see if I put my sport mode on, you'll get a little sport icon there. Very simple, but I actually really like it. It's very, very usable, very easy to do. Then you can see here we have some paddle shifters for the manual control if you need to do it. We have rain sensing wipers as well, which is a nice feature to have. And just right next to it, we have this infotainment display that is kind of built into the dash that is kind of far away. So you can touch it when you're using Apple CarPlay and stuff, but you don't really need to because you control it with this knob. Some people don't like the knob. Some people hate it. Look, I prefer it way more than the trackpad. And Mazda is obviously committed to keeping this because it's in pretty much all their vehicles. I don't hate it. I find it very hard to hate it. Look, it's not my favorite thing in the world, but I will say this. When you're driving along, this is very easy to use. This is so easy. It's so much easier than having to reach up and like distract yourself. This little knob here and with these quick selection buttons are very quick and easy to use. So I am a fan of the knob. It is very hard to say that it's a negative thing. It's not a trackpad, and the trackpads are always brutal, but this is pretty good. And in terms of settings, different stuff like that, there really isn't a lot. It's very cut and dry, very simple, but you like that. You don't want all, like this is all the main menu I have. I don't have anything else, which is very good. Like you don't need all that stuff. Like it's just very simple, and I like that too. Very easy to understand and use. Then we will drop a little bit lower. We can see we have this nice red leather stitching. I like the leather. I like the feel of it. Feels very premium in here, which is surprising, but also very welcome. I like it. And then we have dual zone automatic climate control, heated steering, heated seats for the driver and passenger. All physical buttons, very easy to use. You understand them all. If you've driven a car before, you're good. Then we have wireless charging pad as well, 2 cup holders, a nice standard shifter, no buttons, no messing around. Straightforward, very easy. Then we have our drive selector, either sport mode on or sport mode off, and that's it. The knob that I showed you, the volume controls are right here, a favorites button. Then we have this guy that slides back to show you your USB connections. Then you can actually slide it forward again and open it up. Then the passenger has some vents here, nice little glove box compartment, nice and big. I like the design here. You can see the Bose speaker over there too. And then the red leather seats, which are just fantastic to look at. Just looking at it from the outside, like if you look at it from the front, you can see the white with the black rims and then the red leather interior. It really, really looks premium. It really, really looks nice. And I love that. So you're getting a lot for not a lot of money. So let's actually strap that GoPro to my forehead. Let me talk about all that, what you get, and let's see how it drives. All right, so here we are on the road in the business end of the 2024 Mazda 3. This is, again, the GT trim, so top Mazda that you can get. And yeah, so far it's been a good week. I've had it for almost 7 days at this point. We're approaching day number 6. And yeah, it's just been solid. Like, what a good daily driver this has been to drive around in and stuff. And like, just use overall, and I get it now. Like I get why I see so many on the road all the time, and I see so many in traffic. It's like, they might not always be the top trim, but I do understand why. And like I said, like this this as tested price is like $40,000. If you include tax, you're probably going to get a bit more up there, but still, you're getting all-wheel drive, over 250 horsepower, or just around there, and like a really solid drive system, like a really solid drivetrain. Especially like, there's not a lot of SUVs or not a lot of sedans now that are coming with all-wheel drive, or they even have the option to come with all-wheel drive, and Mazda does. And I mean, if you don't option the all-wheel drive, well, then it just gets cheaper, which is, you really can't complain about that either. So there really isn't much in terms of actual drive modes. There's only two. There's only, normal, which I guess I'm in now, and then sport. So I have a button that either says sport mode on or off. So I can turn sport mode on. I did fill it with premium fuel, so that way we can see if there's a big difference between regular gas and premium. I don't know if there is, but we'll see in a second here. Just kind of come around the corner, and we'll give it a little bit of slow down here. Slow, slow, slow. And let's kick it. Pretty good. You know what? Like, it's very smooth. Like, it's not a speed or like an instant torque that's going to absolutely put you back in your chair, but the acceleration is so smooth. Like, if I hammer the throttle, there is a little bit of turbo lag, but if you're gradually, like, say you're accelerating to get onto a highway and you're gradually applying pressure to the throttle, it's very, very smooth. Every single passenger that I've brought in here this week have said that exact thing when I accelerate to go on the highway. Wow, this is really, really smooth. I didn't even notice you were accelerating that quickly. And it's like, I've driven a Mazda in the past, like I said, and the power delivery was great then. It's probably even better now. They've only improved on their drivetrain system, and just like the fact that it's all-wheel drive just adds so much value to it for me, especially as you can see, sometimes this is right here on the road, and just having that all-wheel drive system makes you feel so confident about driving in the winter. Also, the handling is quite good too. Like, I can kind of like throw it around into the corners. The steering is nice and stiff. I get some feedback from the steering wheel, but it's more from it's more from my seat that I can feel kind of what the car is doing, which is okay. I mean, like, you're not really buying this car to do lap times and drag races and stuff. It's just a nice added feature that it does have an all-wheel drive engine that can output a little bit of horsepower and a little bit more torque than the average sedan can. But again, if you don't want it, you can just drop down to the 191 horsepower version, and again, you're just going to save money. Everything you don't do, like, they gave me the top trim, which I'm glad I get to see it and show you, but you don't need it. Like, that's the thing. And I think even at the lower trims, you're probably still going to get a pretty good premium feel. And for $40K, I don't feel like I'm missing out on too much, which is just excellent. So we can talk about fuel economy quickly. Like, on the piece of paper that Mazda sent me, they said fuel economy should be around the 8.8 liters per 100 kilometers. That's the way that they tested it. I'm getting 9.7 liters per 100 kilometers, which, isn't too far off. And I've been pushing it. I've been driving in sport mode a lot. I've been mashing the throttle a lot. I've been doing a lot of driving where, I'm testing the speed and stuff like that. So I'm not necessarily nice to it. I'm not necessarily driving to get 8.8. So that's completely normal too. As you can see, we just kind of climbed this hill. Like, so if there was ice here or something, I would just go right through it with this Mazda. Like, so seamless, so easy. We also have good things like lane keep assist, lane departure assist, automatic cruise control. We also have the lane keep, the distance keep stuff too. Very good on highway, very good for long road trips. This would be an excellent thing to take on road trips since the seat is so comfortable. The ride quality is also good. Of course, since we're in a sedan, we're a bit lower to the ground. You are going to feel bigger potholes, but I don't actually notice that too much. Like, it's really good. I've definitely had some sedans that don't have any like comfort modes or adaptive suspension or anything that are much less comfortable than this one. So really, really good news. As you can see, I have an older Mazda driving behind me. So one improvement they made from, like, I don't know, I guess it's like a 2015 Mazda that was just behind me. So they've made great strides. Like, no, it doesn't stand out, but I feel like Mazda owners know what they have and non-Mazda owners don't really know what they're missing, if that makes sense. Like, before, like, I really drove a Mazda. Like, I drove a Mazda like maybe 2 times, like back in 2020. And now I've driven it every day for a week. I've been, I've gone to get food, groceries, and everything in between. And it's just been so good because, like, I didn't really realize, like, okay, I get it. Now that's why these people are buying these things, because they are really cheap if you want them to be. And then even if you want the top trim, that's not even that expensive. And for the sedan version, that's really good. And again, it's so hard to find because, like, SUVs, most of them come standard all-wheel drive or option all-wheel drive, and then a lot of sedans just don't. It's just front-wheel drive or rear-wheel drive, and that's it. You don't even get the option. I so love the fact that Mazda at least gives us the option. I'm also a huge fan of how the steering wheel feels. Like, it's very nice to touch. The heated steering is very good, comes in quite quickly. So do the heated seats, actually. It's a cold day out. It's it's about -5, but still, if I'm in a t-shirt like I am now, I'm gonna feel it. So it's good that the car warms up pretty quickly, and stuff like that. So it is, I'd say it is a very good winter sedan, which usually I don't find myself saying. And I think you'd be pretty hard pressed to get this thing actually stuck in the snow, because the all-wheel drive system feels pretty great too. So overall, I guess it's so hard to say something bad about this car, because it's so good in so many areas. But I guess like in the top trim, I guess like I feel like I'm missing things that they're not things that I need. But I guess like it would have been nice to see ventilated seats for the top trim. It would have been nice to see like power folding mirrors. Maybe a panoramic sunroof would be cool. It's just like little things that maybe you don't need, but if you have a top trim that are nice to have, again, you absolutely do not need these things. This car is absolutely perfect without those. It's just little things that, like, if I'm paying like 47 or not 47, but $40,000 plus tax Canadian, maybe I just want to see those, and it maybe will make me feel a little bit better about my purchase. But really, if push came to shove today and I really needed something that was, had a little bit of speed, had a little bit of pep to it, like this, and wasn't too expensive, the Mazda 3 would be so high on that list, because it competes in that like really affordable market, but it does it so well where I don't feel like I'm trading off. Like, I don't feel like I'm paying less and getting less. I feel like I'm paying less and getting more, and that is so important. So Mazda has a great platform here with the Mazda 3. I prefer the sedan version, but I do see a lot of hatchback versions around me here in Quebec, so that might say something about the Quebec market. But overall, I'm very, very happy with this Mazda 3, and I think you should test drive it, and I think you should buy it if you're looking for a very affordable sedan that's going to get you from point A to B, and it's just a great daily driver with smooth acceleration and very good ride quality. And with that being said, make sure you subscribe. We're trying to hit 2,000 subscribers now. We've got to 1,000. 2,000 is the next milestone, so if we can help you get there, I'd appreciate it. If you really like the video, the thing that helps me out the most is if you watch another one. I've got a whole bunch of great cars on this channel, electric vehicles from some sporty cars too. I even have some BMW on here, so we have pretty much everything in between, except for, like, the Ferraris and Lamborghinis, but those will come with your support, especially if you want to see. So if you want to put me in a Lamborghini, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see if we can make that happen. And yeah, with that being said, I'll see you next week, see you in the next car. Take care.